What do you see as your role as mayor of the city of Fort Wayne? I mean, how would you, as a personality, how would you define the various personality traits that go into that?
Well, I think that the role of mayor is really twofold. You need a mayor who is the CEO of the administration and also a champion of the community. And the CEO of the administration, in that I kind of pull on my business background. I've been on the board of directors for my husband's company for years, have an MBA, have worked with lots of small businesses. And what I see is that the CEO of any organization sets the standard for how that organization interacts with their customers, with their suppliers, with their vendors, but really kind of sets the mission and the vision for what the organization is going to accomplish. So, and I have not honestly seen mayors take it on in that way as a CEO, a chief executive officer, where they're saying, this is what's important to us. I mean, that's 1,300 people. That's a large organization. And you need to have somebody at the top who's saying, this is what we value as an organization. We are here to serve the citizens of the community.
Wasn't that roughly what Graham was doing with Six Sigma?
You know, I think
he always seemed like
yeah, that's true.
He visionary CEO.
He was implementing business type processes in a government environment, and that made him visionary because he saw the application. But I think it goes a step further than that. That's a very functionally oriented thing. It doesn't necessarily carry over to the prevailing mentality of people in government, and you've seen that by the way that all those committees have gone by the wayside. As soon as Graham wasn't mayor anymore, they couldn't wait to stop holding those committee meetings. I mean, that was the running joke for the first 100 days of the Henry administration, was people were really glad that they didn't have to have a committee to figure out what to do about things anymore. And I think that may have been a little bit of a loss, because there's something to be said for really looking, building a consensus around projects and seeking out those efficiencies. So CEO of the administration, you set the overarching vision and mission of the organization. You know, putting the financial house in order is certainly a part of that. And every department will be involved in that because the budget is pervasive throughout operations. There's also taking care of business, and that ties to the third, which I think of it as, I call it citizens first, a customer service focus. And I think part of the deserved knocks that come on the routing and permitting process for business development in this community stem primarily from the attitude with which the regulations are enforced. Businesses that come to Fort Wayne don't get the sense that they're wanted, don't get the sense that we really want them to invest in our community, and that we value their presence in our community. And I think that's a mistake. There's a lot to be said for just common courtesy.
It's true, and my experience has been that the county's been less customer service oriented than the city. That's just my experience. And the other side of that would be that John McGawley's wife is beats the bushes on a fairly regular basis to give away tax incentives.
Sure, Alyssa McGawley is the head of the tax abatement process, or the main staff person.
I mean, it would seem to me that city government, I don't deal with every department, but it seems that they are relatively proactive compared to one county government, compared to other organizations that I've had to deal with.
You know, I wonder if there's a difference between you on an individual level as a well-known figure in the community and businesses. I mean, you are. I mean, you are known for really
being obnoxious.
No, that is not what I was going to say.
Pushy.
No, being a community champion. I mean, the work that you've done as a volunteer in this community is a good indicator of really the core of your personality. And I mean, I think people know that you were striving to do things that were for the greater good. And so that may have influenced it. But what I've heard from business owners is that they feel like they are put through the ringer when all they're trying to do is expand their company. And it's unfortunate.
The permitting process.
The permitting process.
No, that's a combined city-county function, though, isn't it?
It is combined. 8 of them are city, 6 are county. There are a few Depending on where the project lies, there may be one or two more departments that touch on it. But it's the problem is that there is no unifying thread through that process. And I've had conversations with the commissioners about this. This has come up for years. And I mean, I remember this being a topic back 12 years ago in the mayoral races. And it's never been satisfactorily resolved. I think it all comes down to customer service and on the attitude with which how people are dealt. It's not necessarily that there are criticisms of the rules and regulations themselves, it's how they're enforced and how people feel that they're treated in the process.
Also, the rules and regulations, though, have an impact on if you have to carry this piece of paper in that direction, that piece of paper in this direction, 15 signatures.
Right. There's that, but it's people don't feel that they're given guidance. There's no project manager. I mean, it's very easy. Then you could look at the community of New Haven, for example, who has a standard set for themselves that they're going to turn around development permits within 72 hours. Those it's 3 months in Fort Wayne, and you can't tell me that. I mean, it's still partly New Haven City and partly county for New Haven, but with Fort Wayne, even with the partnering with the county's departments, can't seem to get the process done. And that stems from the city assigning a project manager to each project. So there's one single point of contact. It's that one-stop shop. There's one place where people go when they're going to start a project. When they first approach on that project, they're put through what I think of as kind of a triage process. And they look, the city staff will look through and evaluate, is this a project that, they said 80 to 90% of the projects really just need to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. It's pretty straightforward. And then you've got, maybe 10%, 10% that need a higher level of scrutiny or, some higher level of involvement. But Fort Wayne right now makes every project go through that higher level of scrutiny. And so it bogs down the whole process. Everybody is put through the ringer, whether or not they need to be.
I remember it. I worked on Graham Richards' campaign in 1980. And I remember that Graham proposed, if he were to have been elected governor of the state of Indiana, he was proposing a one-stop shop for businesses. This was 1980, same sort of thing. I wonder if it's less, I wonder if the mayor can affect that sort of change.
Mayors in other communities across the country have been doing it. New Haven does it. It's not a matter of size. I've looked, the U.S. Conference of Mayors has a wonderful website that benchmarks excellence in communities across the country. Other communities have got it down. They know how to do it. We just have not focused on that. For whatever reason, it's fallen off the back end as a priority once a mayor is elected. And for me, what's the point if we can't accomplish that? Why on earth would I want to be mayor if I couldn't get in and accomplish those changes? It wouldn't be any fun at all. I am being very clear about what I intend to accomplish because that's what I want to do when I get in there. And if I'm not able to accomplish those things, then there's no point in my being there.
Make it a more business-friendly community.
Yes.
Essentially.